Maggie, how are you? Okay, good.
Very good.
We talk about being consistent, right? In the business, we talk about the power of learning behaviors and performing those. We hear about that all the time. So how can we harness the power of consistency in what we do every single day? How do we do that?
Well, I think consistency is something that we can fall off the wagon really easily. And it's really an inside job. And over these last 2 days in training and everyone speaking, we know the things that we need to do that make us consistent. Having a huge why. Last year I was several sizes larger than I am now. And I had a burning desire. My burning desire was to stay alive for our kids, for my family. And when that happened, everything changed. And stayed the course and little fell off the wagon this summer, but back on it. And that's what it takes. And the thing is writing down your goals. I have a goal. I've written it down for this business and for my personal self. Writing down your goal, having an accountability partner. We do working Zooms where we have power hours. We have a couple leaders that started a few months ago, and it's been so incredibly powerful. We take 20 minutes prospecting, break up the time into prospecting, follow-up, social media, and with the new people, I am going further, a little bit further, and doing some time with verbiage for them to help with prospecting and following up. But for Jeff and I, my husband and I do New You Life together. And in November of 2016, life as we knew it no longer existed. He was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And I remember getting out of the car to go get the diagnosis that day, and God spoke to me and he said, that's exactly what he said, life as you know it no longer exists. And we had to really figure things out. We had already started doing big time visualization for our futures. We were seeing it clearly. We were feeling it. And really, in hindsight now, we can see that the cancer was a huge blessing in our life. But during that ordeal, we both really kind of like lost our physical selves. My adrenals were severely taxed. It was affecting my thyroid. He was getting weaker and weaker. He lost 70 pounds, and he was a shadow of his former self. And we started, I said, I have to figure out what, like I said, it's an inside job. You have to figure out what's gonna work for you. And for me, I tried different things that were gonna help me mentally get through it, and it came boiled down to going to sleep every night with meditation. And it changed everything in my life. Jeff's full-time job was visualizing, seeing himself healthy, seeing himself in the future, traveling with our girls, doing things that we love. And today, I mean, he's a living example of this. But in February, summer of 2017, it was the night between his 2 treatments. I was in a hotel room. And I was so exhausted that I gave up the burden. I gave up the burden because I didn't know if I could handle one more day. And when I gave up that burden, this peace came over me like I've never experienced before. And you knew we were going to be taken care of. We got home. Jeff was feeling the same peace. We had to not look at our life how it was on the surface. We had a mountain of medical debt. We had 2 girls in out-of-state college. And we looked at each other and we said, we cannot pay attention to how life really is. We're going forward with what the truth is. And God has given that to us. Amen. 6 months later, we got the call. And I'm sorry, I'm emotional. We were so broken. We were so broken. Jeff was so weak. I was exhausted. And we get the call about New You Life. And once I tuned into the product and the company, I said, Jeff, I feel more alive than I felt in years. And we sat down, the two broken people, and sat in our living room and made phone calls to take us to Diamond. I want you to know you here, you are the foundation of this company. Visualize your future how you want it. Visualize your team going to the top of the mountain, waving the victory flag. Because guess what, guys? You know you're different. You know you vibrate on a little bit different level than other people around you. When we all lock arms, and I mean really lock arms and love on each other, shine our light, do you know that climb to the mountain is going to be way more easy? So start seeing your future. Start visualizing it as if it is right here, right now. Start scripting in the morning. I have full gratitude. If I don't get my gratitude in every day, like I mean talking period of time gratitude, I start getting all antsy. And I'm like, Jeff, I gotta go do it. I gotta go do it. It is being grateful. I don't care what you have going on in your life. Being grateful for what you have. And you're gonna be open for the pouring of blessings to come in your life.
Great job, Maggie. You're killing me. Gosh dang it. Anyway. So I might have two final questions for you guys. So, the first one is, and we just have a few more minutes, but maybe each of you can take 20 seconds and answer this first question, then I'm going to follow with one more. So, the first question is, I know there are obstacles when it comes to follow-up. I know there's obstacles when we're out there trying to make sure that we're talking to everybody we talk to. Real quickly, maybe we'll start with you, Lisa. How do you overcome obstacles when it comes to follow-up? Is there something that you do that you really like to do that helps you move through that process?
Yeah, so, number one is kind of what I touched on earlier, is remembering that it's not about you. If you're hearing crickets, right, if you don't get a response from somebody right away, it's pretty well known that it can take, 7 to 20 follow-ups sometimes for someone to actually take action, right? We know in life, we see a commercial for something, or we see something show up on our Facebook page or whatever, and sometimes it takes us several exposures before we actually purchase something, right? So I always just try to remember that people have busy lives. People are dealing with illnesses, they're dealing with kids, they're dealing with so many different things that this isn't the highlight for them yet, right? They haven't gotten the new you life vibe yet, right? They don't understand it yet. And so our job is just to remember that it's never about us. People always have things going on. And the one tip that I have that's kind of like a tangible thing that you can take away that I learned that works really well for me is just, it's called the 2 by 2 by 2. And what it does is it helps me when I get in my head around crickets, right? There's crickets, this person's not responding, and I know they saw my message, but they're not saying anything. The 2 by 2 by 2 is basically, I follow up with them every 2 days, twice. So every 2 days, twice, and this is if I'm not hearing back, right? And I might look at their Facebook page, see if they have something going on, if I'm connected to them on another social media platform, figure out if there's something going on in their family, that maybe it's not a good time to follow up. But I'll do every 2 days, twice, and then I move it to 2 weeks. So every 2 weeks, twice, and then I move it out to 2 months. And I'll follow up with them every 2 months until they join our family. And this is if you have no other kind of arrangement with them. Like you might have a conversation with someone where they say, hey, check back with me in 6 months or whatever, right? But this is when you're wondering, like, what do I do? How often do I follow up? That's a great way to do it to where you don't feel like you're bothering someone, but they're still on your radar and they're still somebody that you want to share this gift with. So that's kind of my tip for that.
Perfect. Well done. Rachel.
I love that, Lisa, the 2 by 2 by 2 system. I'm just going to share a story. This was one of the lessons that I learned along the way very early on. When my kids were in elementary school, they had, yearly carnivals, and my husband, who's always been very outgoing and in sales, was standing next to another guy, another dad, doing another game booth, and they had kind of formed this relationship, and he comes home and he says, oh, I met this great dad, and he does insurance, and I really think that we should switch our insurance and use him. And I said, okay, great, that's fine, whatever. He said, yeah, he's gonna call me on Tuesday. And so then the following week comes around, I totally forgot about it, and we were sitting down at dinner, and it was Wednesday, and he said, you know, I'm just so disappointed. And I said, why? What happened? He said, remember the dad I told you about that I met at the carnival? He said he was gonna call me on Tuesday, and it's Wednesday, and he never called me. And he goes, we can't use him because he's not a person of his word. And that, for me, was like, oh my goodness, because I know for myself, I didn't follow up because I was afraid I was gonna bother them. And so that's that other negative internal dialogue that's going on that is not true. And so I decided that I was always gonna book an appointment from an appointment from that point on, and always tell who I was talking to when I was gonna reach back out to them next, because if I did that, then I would have to, because I'm a person of my word. So it was just a game that I started playing with myself, and it really works. So I always follow up.
Great job, great job. Maggie, you got it.
I think that one of the things that might be difficult with follow-up or missed is not asking enough questions. You know, just treat people like you want to be treated. I think people get in their head and they're like, what do I say, what do I say? And, really, just treat people like you want to be treated. When, after someone has seen the information, I'm like, you know, what do you hope the gel will do for you? And they start thinking, and then they start giving me a laundry list of things that they hope the gel will do for them. But I think it's a matter of, even if you think somebody on a scale of 1 to 10 is a 3, if you ask enough questions, you can get them to be a 5, and then a 5 to a 7. And around a 7 or 8, they're gonna either be a customer or come on board. But I think that's the big thing, not asking enough questions.